Chrisley is once again denying rumors that he and his former business partner, Mark Braddock, had an affair, had some sort of relationship. Now, this has come up so many times, but Todd Chrisley was recently doing a interview for a friend of his. I've actually never watched her YouTube channel or her podcast, but the Ashley Realities Roundup put up an article about this. So I was able to go watch a clip from Todd's interview. And you guys, Todd is the king, queen of shade, whatever you want to call him, king or queen. He is literally the king, queen of shade. And during this interview, he was asked about this relationship with his former business partner, Mark Braddock, and his response was pretty hilarious. We're gonna read this article, but then we're gonna watch a couple of clips. Okay, you guys. So I do have the clips, but we're gonna go over this article first. And I do want to say, when it comes, like, somebody said this a while back with Tyler Baltera, however you pronounce his name, from Teen Mom, because a lot of people accuse Tyler of being gay too. And someone said something one day like, maybe they're bi, but they choose to live with their wife. They have kids. Like, maybe they are bi. Like, who cares? There's such thing as, just because he's feminine, it doesn't mean that he's got to be gay. It could be that he's bi, and it could be that, while yeah, maybe he's bi, he prefers the lifestyle of having a wife and children and having a family. So someone, when we were talking about Tyler, said that at one point, and I thought, maybe they're right. Like, why does it always have to be that if you are feminine, if you are a guy and you are a little feminine or a lot of feminine, everybody just automatically assumes that it's that you are gay. It can't be that you're bi and you're living a lie. And when are you going to come out? So I thought that was I thought, yeah, maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's not at all. Maybe they're just feminine. Maybe they, as far as like in Tyler's case, Tyler was raised by his mom. His dad wasn't in the picture very much. He had his mom and his sister. So maybe it's just that, he was raised by women. So he's a little bit more on the feminine side, whatever. But let's go ahead. We're going to read this article, and then we are going to watch the clips because the clips are so funny. Okay. All right. So the Ashley put up an article. It says, Todd Chrisley denies having an affair with his former business partner. And Todd is quoted as saying, if I had effed him once, he would have come back for seconds. Okay. Wow. I'm glad that he feels that way. I'm glad he's got a lot of ego when it comes to, how he lays the pipe down, I guess. Okay, it says Todd Chrisley is firing back again at claims that he's gay and that he previously had an affair with his former business partner, Mark Braddock. During a recent appearance on the Candace Burruss Speak On It YouTube show, the former Chrisley Knows Best star was asked about the rumors involving himself and Mark, to which he recalled the moment his attorney confronted him about Mark's claims. No, this is wild. This is pretty wild. I mean, because here's the thing. They're being investigated, taking it back. They were being investigated by the FBI for tax evasion, bank fraud, all these crimes, these monetary crimes. Thank you, Letha, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. I really do. Thank you. So they're being investigated by the FBI, right? And the person that turned them into the FBI was their daughter, Lindsay. That's one of them. Thank you. And Lindsay turns them over to the FBI, but then Mark Braddock, Todd's former business partner, he starts working with the FBI as well. And he tells them that he tells the FBI that him and Todd had a sexual relationship, but it only happened once. It only happened once, right? So now this is Todd explaining on the podcast how his attorney approached him with this. So he said, let's see. Says he recalled the moment his attorney confronted him about Mark's claims, and he said, we're going to watch the video. I guess it don't jump right into that. Todd says, well, let's just be very clear. If I had effed him once, he would have came back for seconds. He said it was a one-time thing. He thinks it was an experiment, Todd continued. You ain't experimenting on crap. You know what you're doing. I don't need to experiment giving head. Okay, let me just do a trigger warning with this because, we're going to be talking about this affair and Todd. Todd can get a little spicy at times. I will say in the video, I did bleep out some of the words, but anyways, he says, I don't need to experiment with giving head. If I want to give head, I give head. Okay, Todd. As the Ashley previously reported, allegations about Todd's sexuality ramped up in May 2022 when Mark Braddock testified in Todd and Julie Chrisley's federal fraud case that he and Todd had been blackmailed for $38,000 by an anonymous individual who threatened to expose their alleged year-long intimate affair. My thing, okay, so Mark testifies on the stand that this affair lasted a year, but you were only intimate once. Also, the fact that they were blackmailed for $38,000, it really makes me wonder if that was Mark. Was Mark behind the anonymous blackmail? Was it him getting more money? Because we all do know that Mark Braddock, he was the one filing these false documents to get this money. And Todd and Julie say they didn't get the money. Like, it didn't go into their account. Mark is also the individual who tipped off the FBI about Todd and Julie, who were convicted of tax evasion and bank fraud crimes in June 2022, with Todd going on to receive a 12-year prison sentence and Julie getting a 7-year prison sentence. The pair has since been released from prison after receiving a full pardon from President Donald Trump in May. Before Todd and Julie reported to prison in 2023, Todd spoke about Mark's claims on his Chrisley Confessions podcast, telling listeners that while the gay rumor itself never bothered him, Mark's inclusion in said rumor certainly did. So it's the fact that it's like not that he said I was gay, but that he said I was gay with him. That's what bothered me. He says, I wouldn't touch that man with a 10-foot pole. Okay, so it says, the thing that insulted me the most is that out of all of these 54 years, for me to finally be accused of being with a man, and it would be someone that looked like Mark Braddock, a toad, someone who looks like a thumb, somebody who says he's only had sex with his wife and me. At the time, Todd also assured his son, Chase Chrisley, who was lucky enough to be a guest on this particular episode of Chrisley Confessions. Todd said, while many people have been stigmatized by your daddy, Mark's claims were nothing but wishful thinking. Goodness gracious. Stigmatized, huh? I can't wait to unpack this conversation with my therapist. The Ashley is pretty funny at times. Todd goes on to say that's the most insulting thing. If George Clooney had gone out here or Brad Pitt had gone out here and said, I had a blank down with Todd Chrisley, I'm not going to be as embarrassed by it. But to say that someone who looked like him, somebody that was a thief, Todd also insisted to listeners that he's not insulted if people believe that he's gay, but is insulted if people believe that he couldn't pull something better than that. All right, let's see. Okay. So here's a couple of little clips we're gonna watch. So here's just some allegations. All right, here's some little clips of people talking to Todd about being gay.
Married. People have called you a queen.
People have said queen or king, but either one has a check attached to it.
For me to finally be accused of being with a man, it would be someone that looked like Mark Braddock.
You are a heterosexual man, married with your wife and children.
That is correct.
But a lot of people accuse you of being...
If I ever decide to take that route, there'll be a check attached to it because it would not be something I do for free, and they don't call it a job for no reason.
So you would come out of the closet for money?
It would be a lot of money. First of all, I'm not in the closet, but if I ever decided...
Okay, exactly. Thank you, Todd.
If I ever decided to be with a man, my great-grandchildren would never have to work.
Okay. In their life.
Okay.
Todd Chrisley slamming the claim he's gay and had an affair.
I'm going to speak on it.
All right, so let's listen to him speak on it, you guys.
And he says, where are you? And I says, getting off.
And let me ask you this, and if you want me to take it out, I'll take it out.
You don't have to take anything out.
Okay, he implied that y'all had an intimate relationship.
He did. And our attorney called and he says, where are you? And I says, getting off 400. And he says, I need you to come to my office. For what? And he said, I need to talk to you about something that I think you and I should talk about in person. Mm-hmm. All right. I said, well, Julie and I'll be there in a few. He said, no, I don't need you to bring Julie. Well, there's nothing that my wife can't hear you say. Mm-hmm. We go back to his office and he calls me in there and he says, tells me what I just told you he said. And I said, well, let's just be very clear. If I'd f***ed him once, he'd have come back for seconds.
Wait a minute.
And
did he allege that y'all only once?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what he said.
Said it was a one-time thing. It was an experiment. You ain't experimenting on shit. You know what you're doing. I don't need to experiment giving head. If I wanted to give head, I'd give head.
Well, then.
But
Have
I
you
was
ever
born-
gave head?
Then she went on to say, she said, have you ever given head? It cuts off right there, so I wasn't able to hear his response, but I'm going to assume he's going to say maybe no. I don't know. But one thing that's not really debatable, we can debate all day long if we think Todd Chrisley is gay, bi, whatever. But one thing that's not really debatable is how funny he is. This dude is so quick-witted. He is quick on his toes, slick with the mouth when it comes to responding. You know, when it comes to, oh my goodness, like I watched, preparing for this live, I watched 2 episodes of him on the Wendy Williams episode. And it was just, I mean, she would say one thing and he would right back at her. It was really funny watching him talk about Nancy Grace because he does not like Nancy Grace. And Wendy Williams asked him about Nancy Grace and he was just so funny. But here's the thing. This is the way that I feel when it comes to people and whatever. It's, while I cover these people, I just feel like it's really not my business who they sleep with unless they want to share it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people that don't appear or act gay, you know, nobody's getting on my channel saying, oh, you're straight. You're straight. So why are we like, oh, you're gay? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, I feel like it shouldn't really be a thing to even be, I don't know. But it is. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of people that, you know, say that about him. But someone said about Tyler not too long ago that, you know, maybe they're bi. And maybe while they're bi, and maybe they experimented, maybe there were times in their life that they messed around with guys, or maybe they even had boyfriends. But they've obviously chosen to live a life with their wife, having children, and that's the road that they decided to go down. So our episodes of the show is still up. I may have to watch. The Chrisleys, I do believe you get to watch the Chrisleys. Y'all remember when Joan Rivers was on Watch What Happens Live? Andy asked, what's Hollywood's best kept secret? And she said, serious as hell, John Travolta. Wow. I don't remember that. But Joan Rivers was a hoot and a half as well. So but yeah, you guys, did you see the newest episode of Chrisley Confessions they did with Nanny Faye? Oh my goodness, yes, I loved it. I listened to it this morning, actually. Yeah, so Todd and Julie, they have revamped their podcast, Chrisley Confessions. It's now Chrisley Confessions 2.0. And this was the third installment, the third episode of it that came out today. I think it came out today. And they had Nanny Faye on. And they just talked about, you know, what it was like for Nanny Faye when they were convicted, what it was like for Nanny Faye when they were in prison. And Nanny Faye talked about how she mainly gets support like everywhere she goes, but she was out at the casino at one point and she got some hate. There was a guy that came and sit beside her and was like, I know who you are. And she was like, you know, okay, you're welcome, whatever. And he said, the guy said, you know, what do you think you're going to do now that they're in prison? Now that they're in prison, what are y'all going to do? And she said, well, we're going to make a movie out of it so we can entertain. They're going to make a movie about us so we can entertain drunks like you. Because she said the guy sat down and had a beer or whatever. So she said, yeah, we're going to make a movie about it so we can entertain drunks like you. She talked about helping Savannah and how, you know, how she stepped in to help with Chase or not Chase, Grayson and Chloe and all that she did and never once really complained about it. She did say they had a lot of laundry, but she also said like she enjoyed being there. So that was I loved that episode. I love that they brought Nanny Faye on. She's definitely one that I've been wanting to hear from because Todd's prison sentence was, a 12-year sentence. While he wouldn't have served 12 years, he still would have served probably 8, 9 maybe. And Nanny Faye is older. So I think everybody wondered, if Nanny Faye would make it until he got out. So I'm glad that he's been released. I can't believe she said no to another dog when Todd said, we're going to get you another dog. She said, no, she did. Yes, she said she don't want another dog. I'm really busy lately building a really big one. Oh, that's a dollhouse for what? That's cool though. A dollhouse for your chickens. Is it chickens? Do you have chickens? Wait, yeah, you got chickens. Are they allowed to sue like the court or no? So yes. So Todd and Julie actually sued Georgia, the state of Georgia, for you don't have chickens? What is it that you have? Because what is it that you have? Oh, you rehomed. Okay. So Todd and Julie, they did sue like the state of Georgia because the state of Georgia said that they owed them taxes, owed money for taxes, and they didn't, and the state of Georgia actually owed them. So yeah, they did sue like the state of Georgia. I don't know how that worked, but yes. But Mark Braddock, I mean, this guy from what's put out there, if you dig into it, he was very obsessed with Todd, like buying the same kind of clothes as Todd, even going so far as like buying one of Todd's old homes. And he admitted on the stand, Mark Braddock admitted on the stand to having emails in their names, to being the person getting these loans, that he signed off on this stuff. He just said they knew about it. He said, yeah, I did all of it. I forged the documents. I did this, I did that, but they knew about it. They asked me to do it for them. But I'm like, that's hearsay. Like, where's the evidence that they knew about it, I guess, because even in the emails, there was, emails from Todd saying, do this. But it's like, how there was also a former employee that came forward that said that Mark came to them and said, I'm going to take Todd down. I want you to help me. So Mark had a plan to take Todd down. So how do we know that he wasn't sending these emails back and forth between himself to say these things? We really don't know, Oh, I would love to talk to the Chrisleys. Love to. But yeah, you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think about Todd's response? I'm here for it. I think he's hilarious. And the fact that he's just like, it wouldn't happen once. Like if I would have gave it to him once, he would have come back for more. This I know. I love that he's so just like sure of himself that he knows, listen, it wouldn't have been a once. Oh my goodness, girl, that is big. That is cool. What is that for? That is so cool. I love that. Oh my goodness. Did I never respond to your voicemails? Your audios? I'm just seeing your messages and seeing from July 17th. Okay, my bad. Okay, so Jay Marie says, I wonder if he's going to sue KJ. Well, here's the thing. I don't think he has to sue her, but they had a settlement agreement. When he sued her, they settled. In this agreement, she said she would stop talking about them. But the second they went to prison, she started talking about them. And then when news broke that they were going to be pardoned, she talked about them. So I imagine if they wanted to, they could hold her accountable for that due to her breaking their settlement agreement. I don't know if they're going to. I know right now, Todd and Julie really want to expose what happened to them. They really want to expose the BOP. They really want to expose, all the crookedness going on within the BOP and the people, the guards and all of this, the judges, the DA. So they got bigger fish to fry right now, but fingers crossed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll see that. But you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. We will be watching the new Chrisley Back to Reality. The Chrisleys Back to Reality will come on September 1st, and we will watch it over on TikTok. So if you want to hang out with me, we'll watch it together September 1st over on TikTok and we'll discuss it. So make sure you go subscribe to my TikTok. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.